Well, Rice analyst Mr. Sobowale joins us now to discuss the need for setting up an electoral offense commission to curb violence during and after elections in Nigeria. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
We're glad to have you as well. Now, we do know that, INEC is famous for giving assurances, and they've also made an assurance that they will thoroughly review results of the governorship elections and state assembly elections following allegations of what we just heard, earlier on. How confident are you that they will follow through?
Well, it is on record that it is even INEC before the election that asked that it does not have the capacity to prosecute election offenders, and that the legislature should set up an electoral offenses commission. And they've been following up on that. Maybe this 10th assembly will pass the law, because the INEC chairman has said it first in the first election he conducted and even before this one. So there is need for that sort of body, because right now the INEC has suffered some credibility in the way it has conducted this election. So it may not sound very, very palatable that it is INEC suggesting it. But if you look at the level of violence, you will see that this thing is needed. Especially not only during the election, because the elections have come and gone now, but there have been some incitement going on. See, the spokesman for the APC has said that some people should be arrested for insurgency or sedition just because they have gone to court and they are criticizing the election of the president-elect. You see, it is not peculiar to Nigeria. I think what we should do is have a commission in place or law enforcement in place to arrest people and prosecute them almost immediately, so that that deterrence is clear and bold and is able to deter people from perpetrating electoral malpractices. See, I'll give you some examples from outside. Rahul Gandhi, the grandson of Indira Gandhi, has been jailed 2 years now for defamation because he called Modi. He said those behind the name Modi, that's the name of the Prime Minister of England, that they are mostly thieves. So he went to court, right up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court in India held that freedom of speech is not the same thing as defamation. You cannot defame somebody just because you are practicing freedom of speech, which I very much buy. See, in Kenya, the election that threw up Uhuru Kenyatta, it was tied to the International Criminal Court. It's only that, he was president already, and his vice president, both of them were on different sides. They perpetrated post-election, pre-election crimes. But you see, because they are so powerful, people could not go to the Hague to give evidence against them. That was how the offenses lapsed. So, and here in Nigeria, see the election, people have gone to court. You see, the fact that Keyamo said that people should be arrested for treason shows that things have gone astray. The fact that people are criticizing the election before they feel badly about it does not tantamount for you saying that they are committing treason or they are traitors to the fatherland. That's high-handed, and that should stop. You get me? But people have the right to go to court. You get me? But we should not assume, again, that it is a frivolity. It is not an unserious thing for people to go to court after they feel offended by what has happened in the electoral process. It is a right, but it's not a flippant right. It is a responsible democratic right that should be used judiciously and managed judiciously by the judiciary itself. So that is my own attitude to it. We need an electoral offenses body to manage or to adjudicate on electoral offenses swiftly, very fast, and to give sentences that will frighten people, not to become political rascals and be disturbing our electoral process. That's my take on that.
Right. Now, the general consensus, of course, is that our forces are overwhelmed when it comes to having boots on the ground dealing with these issues, which is why some of our elder statesmen had come up with the peace accord in the hope that all those contending in this race would be able to have, let me call it a gentleman's agreement, because it's not a legally binding agreement, but at least let's all come to the party and agree that we will conduct ourselves in a way that promotes peace, unity, and the values of building Nigeria and moving Nigeria forward. Clearly, that hasn't been enough. My question to you is, how enforceable would any of this be, even if it were to go to an election offences commission? Because it seems that it's only the traditional institutions that are feared and respected, and not even in all cases, as you've rightfully pointed out, that somebody's already, making jest of the fact that somebody is going to court. So how enforceable would this commission be, or is it another, another ceremonial?
No. Let me take you up. You see, I like the way you have brought on the Peace Commission, where people sign so that there will be no violence. That commission should go further and help in the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission, so that you just don't have peace of the graveyard. You say that you have signed peace, people are still, running after each other. You see, the army, the police, they have tried. Even it's in the newspapers, the number of rifles that the army said they recovered from even Boko Haram, people trying to upset the political appetite of the electoral process. They seized them and they handed them over to the police. But then, if you have an electoral commission, if it is to have its own prosecutorial team and its own enforcement agency, that can be worked out. And I think this Abdul Salami committee can put that in the pipeline, so that they don't wait until the next election before they start asking people to sign papers that they don't respect. Anyway, so I think INEC, in spite of all the battering it has taken, INEC has always said that there is need for this Electoral Offences Commission. So INEC and the Peace Committee together can put us together immediately after this. That doesn't mean that those who have committed these offences should not be punished now. First, they should be arraigned so that people see them for who they are. And there's some deterrent. And not only the poor street offenders. See, those financing them, they are known. He mentioned somebody in Delta, well known, who contested. The police can call him. You remember the other day we had a police officer in Kano talking about how they went and arrested a legislator and things like that. Yes. So you see, the processes are in place, but then it is the implementation and the spirit of it and the ability of the system to work as it should. This has been tested. That's the situation.
Thank you, Mr. Sobowale. Now, whenever that commission swings into action, I'm just wondering how important you think it is and you touched on what happened in Kano, but when we look at electoral offenses, I think sometimes we focus on, violence and whatnot, but electoral offenses also include what we saw with the current president, when he showed the party that he was voting for instance. I'm just wondering how crucial you think it is to make, not necessarily him, but to make an example out of those that we consider the elite.
Well, I think the first step now, just like you have mentioned, it's a pity you mentioned somebody who is not arrestable, like the president. You can come lower down. You see, people should be made to know that they will go to jail. You get me? They will go to jail if they violate the electoral, and that they will go to jail immediately. That one has to be made very, very clear. Now, the army and the police, they know how to deter people if they want to deter them. If the army decides to hand over offenders to police, it is because it is following the legal process. The army knows how to deal with such people so that they don't ever come back again. Do you get me now? But that we say is extrajudicial. It's extra-legal. The police too, they know how to deal with people so that they don't come around you. But then, NSAS will lead to NSAS or things like that. So we have to do things constitutionally.
Yes.
Get me? But put the institutions in place, not have one election and go to sleep until 4 years later.
That's right.
And then all the criminals have walked away scot-free.
Yeah.
That's no deterrence.
Mr. Bayo Sobowale, thank you so much for your insight on this particular topic.